Do you think you're in control of your emotions? Think again. The truth is that most of us are slaves to our feelings. We react impulsively to every slight, every unfair situation, every person who doesn't see things our way. What if I told you that mastering your emotions could mean letting go of things we're told to cling to? Like empathy, fairness, even compassion. Growing up, I was always told that emotions were meant to be expressed. That bottling them up was somehow unhealthy, but I found the opposite to be true. The more I learned to control my emotions and to be detached from them, the less anxious, angry, frustrated I felt. That I started to realize that often the emotions we cling to most are the very ones that hold us back. Learning to let go of these so-called negative emotions can help you become a better person. That I was always told that emotions were meant to be expressed, that bottling them up was somehow unhealthy. But I found the opposite to be true. The more I learned to control my emotions and to be detached from them, the less anxious, angry, frustrated I felt. I realized that often the emotions we cling to most are the very ones that hold us back. Learning to let go of these so-called essentials didn't make me cold. It made me unstoppable. Today, I'm sharing controversial Stoic techniques that challenge everything you've been told about emotions. I'll discuss why empathy can sometimes work against you and why closure is a luxury you don't need. If you're ready to take real control of your emotions and stop living at the mercy of your feelings, let's dive in. See success and failure as temporary. We live in a world where we're constantly told that success is everything, that it's the ultimate goal. Society glorifies achievements, promotions, accolades, even social media likes, as if these are the markers of our worth. But here's a hard truth: success and failure are temporary. States say that they are just passing moments that can make us feel incredible or devastated. Neither one lasts. Realizing this can be shocking, especially if we've spent years chasing validation through our achievements or feeling defeated by our mistakes. But once you understand that these labels are temporary, it's freeing. That I learned this the hard way. That I remember one of my biggest professional wins. I worked tirelessly for it, sacrificing time, energy, even relationships. When I finally achieved it, I felt an initial rush, a sense of fulfillment, almost like I had arrived. But the thrill didn't last. Within weeks, I felt that familiar itch to chase the next thing, to prove myself all over again. What I thought would bring lasting satisfaction felt like a fleeting high, gone as quickly as it came. And failure. I've had my fair share of that. 2.1 experience stands out vividly. I'd put everything into a project that I was sure would change my life, open doors, finally give me the recognition I felt I deserved. It didn't work out. The failure was embarrassing. It felt like my whole identity was wrapped up in that one event. For weeks, I let it define me. I felt like I was wearing the word failure around like a badge. Over time, I came to realize that the world had moved on, and so had I. That failure didn't matter to anyone else but me. It certainly didn't define me. Here's the deeper message: success and failure are both illusions in a way. Just fleeting moments in our journey, when we attach our entire worth to one achievement or let one setback destroy us. We're missing the point. Life is bigger than our highest highs and lowest moments. Low points. Remember, success and failure are not permanent labels. Real fulfillment comes when we stop labeling ourselves based on short-term outcomes and start valuing the lessons each experience brings. The process of striving, learning, growing is what gives life meaning, not the label at the end of it. Understanding this doesn't mean you won't feel joy in success or sadness in failure. It does mean you won't let either one define you. You'll keep moving forward, embracing each moment for what it is, a step on the journey, not the destination itself. The most important thing is not the label. The growth we experience in these moments. This doesn't mean we won't feel joy in success or sadness in failure. It does mean we won't let either one control us. We'll keep moving forward. Embracing each moment as a step on the journey. Not the destination itself. Stop making excuses for emotional outbursts. One of the most common ways people give up their power is by excusing emotional outbursts as just who they are. We say, "I'm just a passionate person," or "I have a short temper, can't help it." But here's the hard truth: emotional outbursts aren't a sign of authenticity or passion, they're a sign of a lack of control. Justifying these moments only reinforces the idea that it's okay to let our emotions rule us. To let them spill over and affect the people around us. If we're honest, these excuses are often just ways to avoid taking responsibility for our actions. I remember a time when I'd let stress build up and spill out over the smallest things. I would get angry with my family. Overreact with friends. Then try to justify it afterwards. I'd say, "I'm under a lot of pressure." Or, "I just need to let it out." I even thought that because I was being real, people should accept it. It didn't take long to realize that these outbursts were only hurting the people I cared about and damaging my relationships. Why friends say that life is full of good and bad moments. These moments can make us feel great or terrible. They don't last. It can be shocking to realize this. Especially if we've spent years trying to prove that we are successful or feeling sorry for ourselves when we make mistakes. But once you understand that these feelings don't last, it's freeing. I learned that people were avoiding me. My family would be careful around me, not knowing when I would get angry. This made me feel alone. I couldn't ignore the harm it was causing. I had a big breakthrough when I stopped making excuses for my reactions and started looking at why I was reacting. I started to understand that my outbursts weren't signs of passion or honesty. It was a sign that I was having a hard time dealing with my stress and worries. I learned that it's important to understand that true self-control isn't about hiding your emotions. It's about facing them without letting them control you. It's about saying, "I'm feeling this emotion. I don't need to act on it right now." The most important message here is that taking responsibility for our emotional reactions is a sign of strength. It's not about hiding how we feel. Learning to respond instead of reacting. By stopping the habit of making excuses, we gain respect from others and ourselves. We start to trust ourselves more, knowing that we're in control of our actions. Even when emotions are running high, trust is powerful. It brings a peace that no amount of reactive venting ever could. So, the next time you feel an outburst coming, pause. Remember that true power lies in restraint. There's wisdom in holding back and choosing a response instead of letting emotions run wild. In a world that tells us to just let it out, having the courage to remain calm, even under pressure, is a radical act of self-control. It shows others and yourself that you don't need to excuse your behavior. You're in control. That's what truly defines you. It's important to understand that people may sometimes disappoint you. This can be difficult and even a bit negative. It's not about mistrust or becoming jaded. It's about protecting yourself from setting unrealistic expectations. We're taught to believe in loyalty, honesty, mutual support. So, when someone doesn't meet these standards, it can feel like a personal betrayal. But people are flawed. They have their own priorities, struggles, limitations. If you accept that you might be disappointed sometimes, it won't be as hard to deal with when it happens. I learned this lesson the hard way years ago. I put my complete trust in a close friend. They had been there for me during some of my darkest times. When I hit another rough patch, I just assumed they'd be there again. But they weren't. They had their own life. Their own struggles. When they couldn't support me the way I expected, I felt betrayed. I took it personally and thought, how could they do this to me? It hurt. Over time, I realized that I had some unrealistic expectations. I thought they would always put my needs first. That wasn't always true. This taught me an important lesson about how to handle disappointment. It's good to understand that people might not always meet our expectations. This helps us appreciate them for who they are, without expecting them to be perfect. Interestingly, when you stop trying to meet everyone's expectations, you can see their unique qualities and their small acts of kindness more clearly. It's about not expecting too much of them. This way, you won't end up disappointed. This isn't about lowering your standards. It's about understanding that everyone is human and doing the best they can. When you understand this, you become stronger. Instead of getting upset when people don't meet your expectations, you realize that this is normal. Disappointment doesn't shake your self. This doesn't bother you. It doesn't make you upset. You can say that I understand this is just a human limitation, not a personal failure. This doesn't make you cold or distant. It makes you strong. At the same time, if you think people will sometimes disappoint you, it gives you the clarity to set boundaries. If someone keeps disappointing you, you'll have the perspective to step back and reconsider their role in your life. Your happiness and stability are no longer tied to their actions or choices. You're no longer waiting for people to be something other than what they are. You're not upset when they show their flaws. Instead, you understand that people will act in ways that serve their own needs, just as you might do in their position. This approach is about taking full responsibility for your own peace of mind. You're not giving your happiness to others, hoping they'll handle it carefully. You're holding it firmly yourself, knowing that your well-being doesn't depend on the unpredictability of human nature. In fact, when you don't have unrealistic expectations for others, you're more likely to have fulfilling relationships. You let people be human with all their imperfections. You find strength in your ability to stay calm no matter what they choose. Prioritize inner peace over being right. Choose inner peace. It may seem simple. It's hard to avoid getting caught up in an argument. Most of us have experienced this. We're determined to prove our point, even if it means losing our peace of mind. It's hard to break this habit because we've been taught that being right makes us look strong, smart, respectable. If arguing leaves you feeling anxious, angry, exhausted, is it really worth it? I once spent hours arguing with someone over a small issue. We kept taking turns saying that we were right. I remember feeling frustrated and determined. I was absolutely set on winning the argument. When it was finally over, I felt exhausted and empty. It was as if I'd lost something bigger than the argument. The victory felt like a bitter taste. I realized that my peace of mind was the price I paid. Since then, I've tried a new approach when there's conflict. I ask myself, is it worth disturbing my peace to prove I'm right? The answer is almost always no. Holding on to the need to be right feels like a waste of time. Right. It often leads to stress and frustration. You walk away from these interactions, replaying every word, dissecting every point, trying to convince yourself that you won. Deep down, you know it's a hollow victory. What's the point of being right if it leaves you restless and stewing over it? Things you can't change. Focusing on inner peace instead of being right isn't about being passive or letting others walk all over you. It's about understanding that not every argument is worth the energy. Some disagreements can simply be let go, not because you don't care. Because you value your mental health. Clarity more, this approach requires humility. It means being able to say, I know my truth and I don't need anyone else to validate it for me. It's about feeling secure enough within yourself that you're not rattled by every disagreement or criticism. When you make peace a priority, you learn to choose your battles wisely. You recognize that some arguments, some people, some opinions are simply not worth the toll they take on your mind and emotions. You don't waste energy on proving yourself to people who may never see things your way. Instead, you save that energy for things that truly matter. People and things that inspire you. This way of thinking doesn't just make you stronger. It also makes you kinder.by choosing peace over being right. You learn to listen and understand others, even if you don't agree with them. You stop seeing every disagreement as a challenge to your self-worth or intelligence. That allows you to engage with people in a way that's less defensive, more open, often more meaningful. So, the next time you find yourself in a disagreement, take a moment to ask, is this worth my peace? More often than not, you'll find that walking away or to find peace, you must be clear. Being clear means being honest with yourself. It means knowing what you believe and feeling confident about it. It means not being bothered by disagreements or criticism. When you make peace a priority, you learn to choose simply agreeing to disagree, as you let go of the need to be right. In every situation, you'll start to notice a lightness within yourself. You'll feel a calmness that speaks louder than any argument ever could. You'll realize that peace isn't found in winning the battle. It's found in rising above. It's about being able to say, I know my truth. I don't need anyone else to tell me I'm right. It's about feeling secure enough in yourself that you aren't bothered by every disagreement or criticism. When you make peace a priority, you learn to choose your. It's 5. Delay your reaction. When emotions flare up, the natural response is to react immediately. To defend ourselves. Lash out. Prove our point. Often, that first reaction is driven by anger, hurt, frustration. In the heat of the moment, we tend to say or do things we regret. The practice of delaying your reaction, taking a breath, stepping back, letting the initial surge of emotions settle can be transformative. It's like building a pause button into your mind that lets you choose a response instead of being controlled by an impulse. This isn't easy. Our emotions are powerful and push us to act. Making peace a priority means being able to choose your. This approach requires humility. It means being able to say, I know my truth. I don't need anyone else to validate it for me. It's about feeling secure enough within yourself that you're not rattled by every disagreement or criticism. When you make peace a priority, you learn to choose your. More often than not, it led to arguments, misunderstandings, a lingering feeling of regret. Every time I reacted instantly, I felt worse in the end. Not because of what they said, because I didn't give myself a chance to respond thoughtfully. One day, after a particularly heated exchange, I decided to try something new. The next time I felt my emotions bubbling up, I stayed quiet. I let the other person finish. Took a few deep breaths. Allowed myself a moment of silence. When I finally responded, it was calm, measured, surprisingly effective. The conversation didn't escalate. For once. I walk to find clarity. You must be humble. This means accepting your own beliefs and not needing others' approval. It's about having enough confidence that disagreements or criticism won't upset you. When you prioritize peace, you learn to choose it. That pause gave me the clarity to respond calmly. Delaying your reaction isn't about hiding your emotions or acting indifferent. It's about understanding that your immediate feelings might not be the best choice. When you pause, you're not ignoring your emotions. You're giving them time to settle so that your response comes from a place of clarity, not chaos. This small change can prevent misunderstandings, reduce conflicts, even improve relationships. The great thing about this practice is that it gets better with time. The more you wait to react, the more control you gain over your emotions. You start to realize that you don't have to let every feeling control you. You can choose your responses consciously, you can hold on to your dignity and inner peace. Even in difficult situations, this doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself. It just means you do so in a way that respects others. You'll find that you have more self-respect and can handle difficult situations better. Here's an example: every time you delay your reaction, you're teaching yourself to be strong. You're telling yourself, I am in control of how I respond, not my emotions. This way, delaying your reaction becomes a form of emotional strength. It reminds you that you can be strong without always reacting. You don't need to lash out to be heard. By taking a moment to pause, you conserve your energy for what truly matters and protect your peace from unnecessary drama. Ultimately, this practice empowers you to be more than just reactive. To rise above the momentary impulse and choose a response aligned with your values. Over time, this simple practice helps build calm. It helps you become more centered and collected, which others will notice and respect. People will see you as calm, thoughtful, in control, which is rare in a world where reactions often overpower reason. So, the next time you feel that urge to react immediately, remember that taking a breath, waiting, choosing your words carefully can be the most powerful response of all. Find humor in the situation. When life throws challenges your way, it's easy to become consumed by frustration, anger, even self-pity. There's an unexpected and powerful antidote to stress and negativity: humor. Finding a bit of light, finding the humor in a hard situation can change your outlook and give you the energy to keep going. This doesn't mean making fun of serious things. Learning to see the funny side of some setbacks. In the big picture, not every problem has to be a huge deal, taken so seriously. Imagine this. You're having a rough day at work. Projects are piling up. Your boss is piling on extra demands. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. You could get mad. Let the pressure build up until it affects your entire day. You could pause. Take a step back. See the humor in it. Maybe it's the irony of it's a bad day. Maybe it's the timing of another unexpected challenge. Either way, humor lets you take a break from the frustration. Like stepping back and seeing the situation differently. I've had my fair share of bad days. Like accidentally deleting important files in a rainstorm. Finding humor in challenging situations. When life throws you a curveball, it's easy to get frustrated, angry, even feel sorry for yourself. There's a surprisingly powerful way to deal with stress and negativity: humor. Finding a bit of humor in everyday moments. Like getting stuck in a rainstorm without an umbrella on your way to an important meeting, can make these situations a lot more manageable. At first, I would usually just curse my bad luck or get frustrated. But over time, I've learned that seeing the funny side can make these moments a lot easier to handle. I like to imagine myself in a sitcom, dealing with all these mishaps that add up to a ridiculous over-the-top situation. Top day. Suddenly my annoyance would dissolve into laughter. I began to ask myself, will this matter in 5 years? Even 5 days? Most of the time the answer was no. In that realization, the situation no longer held the same power over me. Finding humor in life's ups and downs isn't about avoiding reality, pretending everything is okay. It's about choosing a different perspective. One that keeps you from becoming too weighed down by challenges. Laughter triggers the release of endorphins, the body's natural look for the humor in life. When things get hard, it's easy to get frustrated, angry, even feel sorry for yourself. But there's a surprising and powerful way to deal with stress and negativity: humor. It helps you relax and feel better, even in tough situations. It gives you the strength to deal with life's ups and downs with a positive attitude. And when you bring humor into difficult situations, others often react in a good way, making it easier to solve problems and reduce tension. Of course, there are times when finding humor feels impossible, like when dealing with serious or painful situations. But even in challenging, look for the humor in tough situations. When life gives you lemons, you can make lemonade. A little joke or a smile can make a big difference. Humor makes things easier to deal with. It reminds you that life doesn't have to be so hard. It's a way of telling yourself, I can handle this. If you can laugh, you're not defeated. Think of humor as your secret weapon. It's a way to take back control over situations that make you feel bad, instead of reacting with frustration or anger. A well-timed laughter can help you let go of things you can't control and refocus on what truly matters. When you laugh at life's obstacles, you're signaling to yourself that no situation is bigger than your ability to endure it, that you're not minimizing the challenge, you're maximizing your strength in the face of it. In the end, finding humor in tough situations makes you stronger. Look for the humor in life. When things go wrong, it's easy to feel frustrated, angry, even sorry for yourself. But there's a great way to deal with stress and negativity: humor. It makes you more adaptable. It reminds you that you have the power to choose how you react. Humor doesn't change the circumstances. It changes you. It's a choice to keep moving forward with a lighter heart, not weighed down by every little mistake. As you develop this ability, you'll find that life's challenges feel less daunting. You become someone who can handle tough times with a smile. This will help you in every part of your life. Don't be afraid to leave a situation that is making you unhappy. One of the most empowering things you can do is realize that you don't have to stay in a difficult situation. Whether it's a toxic relationship or a high-pressure job, you become someone who can handle setbacks, misunderstandings, frustrations with a smile, which will help you in every part of your life. 7. Don't be afraid to leave. One of the most empowering things you can do when things are hard is to realize that you don't have to stay. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a stressful job, an argument getting out of control, knowing when to leave can save your energy, protect your peace, give you clarity. Leaving doesn't mean giving up or failing. It means you're choosing yourself over unnecessary conflict or misery. It's about understanding that some situations don't deserve your time or emotional investment. That it's okay to let them go. Many of us feel pressure to stick it out no matter what. We're taught to never give up, to push through hard times no matter what. To be afraid of leaving because it makes us look weak or like we're giving up. But this way of thinking can make us stuck in a cycle of bad behavior. It's important to know when something isn't good for you and to have the courage to stop or leave. Sometimes the best thing to do is to leave and your energy and hard work aren't being appreciated. I used to work in a job that was really draining. The work environment was very hard for me. Every day was difficult. At first, I thought I could make it through and that it would get better if I stayed. I realized that staying was making me weaker, not stronger. I left. It was one of the hardest but best decisions I've ever made. It made me stronger because I chose to respect myself instead of an environment that didn't respect me. The truth is that we often stay in situations that make us feel bad because we're afraid of what others might think. Afraid of change. Afraid that we're somehow failing by leaving. Staying in situations that hurt us doesn't make us noble, it just leaves us tired. If you're stuck in a relationship, job, argument that repeatedly makes you feel bad or challenges your well-being, sometimes the best thing to do is to leave. This doesn't mean you're being irresponsible or running away. It's just a choice to protect yourself and move forward, focus on the things that truly matter to you. When you walk away from things that don't serve you, you free up space in your life for experiences and people that do. You're making a statement that your peace matters and that you won't tolerate situations that disrupt it. Learning to walk away isn't just about leaving toxic environments, it's also a powerful response in conflicts. When an argument escalates and reaches us sometimes. When you're in an argument, you might feel like you're losing your cool. Sometimes, if you take a step back, you can keep your dignity. It's not about winning or losing the argument. It's about protecting your energy and avoiding an emotional mess that just leaves you feeling drained. If you walk away from an argument, it's a powerful way to show that you're in control of yourself. It shows that you're not letting your impulses or ego control you. That you have a deeper sense of what truly matters. Walking away from an argument requires courage and self-respect yourself. Have faith in yourself and believe that you deserve better than a constant struggle or a toxic environment. If you leave, you're choosing a path that aligns with your values, being yourself. It may feel uncomfortable or uncertain at first. Each step you take away from negativity is a step toward a more fulfilling life. The ability to walk away is an art of detachment. It's a reminder that sometimes the best way to handle difficult situations is to simply step away. When you walk away, you're letting go of unnecessary weight. In that release, you find freedom. You're not abandoning challenges. You're redirecting your energy to those that matter. Don't be afraid to walk away when you're peace. Dignity. Well, sometimes the best thing you can do is know when to stop. It's important to take care of yourself. It's hard to control your emotions, especially when things are hard. But if you try to stay calm, think before you speak. Relax. You're doing great. Remember, it's not about hiding your feelings or acting like you don't care. It's about learning to control your emotions. Steer you. When you master this, you'll find a strength within yourself that others can sense, a quiet, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you're in control of your own mind. Each of these steps, from finding humor in a tense situation to walking away from something that drains you, is about choosing yourself, your peace, your growth, your happiness. Imagine what your life could look like if you held this kind of control and responded to every challenge with calm, not chaos. People might test your limits. Circumstances might push your patience. You will keep encountering setbacks. If you apply these principles, you won't be as affected by your emotions. Instead, you'll be steady, grounded, able to focus on what truly matters to you. This journey is difficult. It's worth it. You will make mistakes. Have days where you react quickly. Feel moments of regret. That's okay. Each day, you can choose to handle challenges calmly and clearly. This approach to emotions isn't about being perfect. It's about becoming strong and true to yourself. Remember, the goal isn't to ignore emotions. It's to learn to handle them gracefully. By following these principles, you're not just protecting your peace in difficult moments. You're also creating a life where you're not a prisoner to fleeting emotions or other people's expectations. Instead, you'll become the one who decides how you feel, how you act, how you let things affect you. So, as you go forward, let this be your reminder: you have the strength to handle your emotions with grace. You have the power to control your emotions, even in the hardest situations. You have the strength to find calm in the storm, to choose peace over conflict, to walk away when your peace is at stake. It's not about controlling every situation, about mastering yourself within them. In the end, true power lies not in the ability to control others, in the wisdom and courage to control ourselves.